Let it be known, Adam, you are an excellent tech man.
There's only so many cables and on-off buttons you can hit before something's going to work eventually.
I think it's just a superpower you get when you become a dad.
Just keep track of all the cables and all the drawers. Welcome back, everybody.
This feels nice.
We were on recess. Would we call that recess?
Yes, we were on recess, an extended hiatus, sabbatical, whatever you want to say. We had a lot going on, though. I didn't feel like recess. It felt pretty dang busy.
That's what happens when you go to Vegas.
Hey, I would love to talk about what we did in Vegas, but you know what they say. What happens in Vegas shows up on the podcast. There's your dad joke for the day.
Well, okay, I'll be frank. One of the reasons, we shipped our microphones to Vegas, or we traveled with our mics because we think we're the world's best podcasters. And then we put the mics back on the pallet that was getting sent back to Urbana. And so we're like, no, mics are coming. And Adam has a mic. Sean has a mic. Mine might be MIA right now. So, or, whatever, it's somewhere in the world, but
maybe good tech support, but I'm not great at the logistics, obviously, Sean. So mics and cables are somewhere in some pallet truck somewhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a lot. We have a lot we want to go through. I think the next month is going to be wild. But let's run it back. I guess where do you want to start, Mr. Allenby?
I mean, I think a good place for us to start is Vegas, right? That was a once in a lifetime trip, I guess we took as a group. That's where I'd want to start. I mean, the Vegas trip was amazing. I'd love to recap it and just say all the things we learned and the takeaways and overall impressions.
Yeah, it was a really exciting, fruitful, beneficial trip. We were at the Sports Licensing and Tailgate Show, which is a trade show for a lot of licensees. It was cool to meet a lot of people in the space, but also a lot of athletic directors, a lot of licensing directors, a lot of vendors. But the cool thing was we brought our whole team. Steven, you had a hard mission on this of like, no, this is going to be a special time for our company. It's going to be an exciting time. Everybody's got to be there. So how many people did we bring?
26, 27, something like that. 3 Airbnbs later, everyone made it there and back. When you tell a bunch of under 30-something-year-olds, we're going to pick and choose who's going to Vegas, that doesn't go over well. So I was just like, you know what? We're going to call this the retreat. But it was kind of the first time for us to all be together. And It was super special. We went earlier to set up the booth. And it was our first rodeo, nonetheless. Sean, what was it like setting up your first trade show?
Exhausting, I guess would be a way to put it. Yeah, that was definitely my first trade show experience. And I remember we kind of had our sleeves rolled up, building our entire booth. And I remember glancing around at the other places and I was like, this is interesting. Like, we're here right when this thing opened and nobody else is really around. Are they ever going to set up? How are they going to do this? And apparently they hire people to do that. We're blue collar here. We do it ourselves and
roll up the sleeves.
Those first 2 days we're building that booth, which was really kind of fun to do and see it come to life. But yeah, after those first 2 days, I was like, oh, now the trade show begins, and this is exhausting also. But cool experience.
It was really great having the whole team out there. It was special, not just from a company standpoint of, we spent some time together setting some goals, talking about where we want 2023 to go. I think it was really great, just vision casting of, we have a couple of different arms of Campus Inc. as well, and making sure we're all aligned and pulling the ropes in the right directions. But it was so fun to hear from other trade show attendees and other exhibitors of like, man, like, look at the Campus Inc. booth, man. Like that's the party. And it's really, kind of, I think, a special thing we said at the end of, this is kind of what Campus Inc. is about, right? We want to show up, we want to have fun, we want to provide really good value in the space. And it was I don't know. It was exciting, positive feedback to hear people like, we want to go hang out at the Campus Inc. NIL Store booth. That place looks fun.
Was it what you guys expected?
I feel like going to that trade show, Sean, was kind of like our coming out to the world party.
Yeah.
And there are big brands right next to us. And we're right by Ohio State. They had a whole exhibit right next to us. And these are monstrosities of exhibits, and a lot of huge brands that were there. And so it kind of felt scrappy that we were there a little bit, like, we're the Rugrats, troublemakers. But the amount of people that came to us as a destination, like, oh, I knew you guys were here and I came to see you. That to me was probably the coolest part, where campuses, licensing directors, retail buyers were all like, hey, we saw that you're going to be here. And I think the most interesting part was, I think we're the only NIL focused booth in the whole trade show, which surprised me. Did it surprise you guys?
I think, NIL is still, I feel like we talk about it all the time because it's what, it's what we're focused on. We're in the space. We keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry very closely. But I think it's interesting to remember that it's still so young, right? It's still so new. People are unsure about where things are going. And it's nice to feel like we don't feel that way. We actually do feel confident about where we're at and where it's headed and what we're doing. But yeah, I was also surprised, Stephen, to not see, really anybody else that was focusing on it there. It was, it was interesting.
I was not necessarily surprised, but I was definitely encouraged by how many people came by who I think were just excited to learn about what we were doing. I think a lot of times people go to those trade shows and they see the same thing every single time. And we're new in the space. It's a new area of the space. And I think people were really excited to learn about us and what we were doing. I think because we had so many staff members there, it kind of felt like an event too. People were like, what the heck is going on at Campus Inc. and the NIL store? They have those touch screens where they're literally scrolling through their website and showing people everything they have going on. So that was my biggest takeaway that I was really encouraged by, was one, how curious people were about NIL and wanted to learn more, but two, like how excited they were to see what we were doing.
Yeah. You had another really,
go ahead, Adam. I was going to say part of our booth. Were you going to say the same thing?
Yes, you go for it.
Go for it.
Oh, Lord.
You got the mic
delay
today.
Is brilliant.
I'm going to clip that, by the way.
Yeah. On Wednesday, the first day of the trade show, Stephen had a great idea of like, what, we want this to be a bit of our coming out party. We want it to be fun. We want to bring people to the booth. And so we actually hosted a happy hour. We were a little cheeky with it. We had some, 6-foot cutouts of Mark. So Wednesday night, first night of the trade show, we were like, hey, 3 to 5, come by the booth, happy hour on Mark. And I think
this is
that
Mark
just
Cuban,
really,
by the way.
yes. Yeah. I think that just kind of like set the tone of, hey, we're here. We want to meet with people. We want to chat with you. We want to help educate you on the space and really just create an environment to learn about where we're headed and where we hope the industry is going with us. And it was awesome seeing the turnout. We had other exhibitors that were coming by like, hey, we want to get a drink and hang out and chat. So I thought that was really cool. Just being able to talk and connect with people in a meaningful way.
We had a fun play. We had a sign that said, well, you've arrived to the Wild West. I thought that was funny because, everyone says it's the Wild West and here we are. So it was really cool from an educational standpoint. And I think that leads us to perhaps our next biggest announcement, which has been a long time coming, but that is our partnership with Brandr Group. Adam, you have been kind of spearheading this with the team at Brandr. Do you want to, tell the world what happened there?
Yeah. So long time coming is an understatement. I think we've been chatting with them since pretty much the day the legislation changed in the NCAA. And really what the partnership means for us moving forward is, as well as the Brandr Group, is really just an alignment of resources and opportunities in the market. So Brandr Group is a group licensing agency, or they manage group rights for schools. And there's, a number of great applications for managing group rights. I think the ones that people think of off the top of their heads are like, trading cards or video games or jerseys and things like that. And so, we feel like we've got a really powerful engine behind us in the NIL store. We've got a great solution that schools are really wanting. And being able to join forces from an educational and a resource standpoint with the Brandr Group really just allows us to bring our fashion jerseys, a lot of the great opportunities that we have at schools to the market a lot faster, and to all athletes at the school a lot faster. So they do a really, really good job at educating schools on opportunities that are in the space. We've done a really good job at providing a great jersey and great merchandise opportunities for students to earn money. And so being able to bring that with a wider breadth and a lot more speed is really what that's about.
Yeah, and a lot of credit to Riley and Ryan for dealing with us because we are able to combine kind of our talents in the way that our technology is able to pay the athletes a lot quicker and with a real revenue share, but by using their resources and their technology and a lot of what they've already built in their groundwork has been fantastic. I think that brings us to that fashion jersey, Adam. You said that. And kind of brushed over it. We brought everyone that came to our booth got a sample of the fashion jersey, either hockey, basketball, baseball. And that was probably football. That was one of my most proud things that we had there. I don't know, Sean, you were there. You've seen jerseys. Tell us about it from your perspective from I'm the OCD jersey person, but how was it paint that picture for us.
No, I mean, I when you have people coming to view your booth and you can give them a sample of Urban Champs jersey, our private label that's a basketball jersey, or hey, do you like football or do you like baseball better? Oh, I like baseball. Okay, here's a baseball jersey for you. They can walk away with that, and who knows, maybe they gave it to their kid when they got back, or they had a gift to give to them, and just help spread the word on what we're doing. It's really cool, and it's something that not many people are doing right now in the space.
And we've had conversations with, I've chatted with a number of schools directly coming back from the trade show, just in follow-up conversations like, yeah, we brought your jersey back. We've been passing them around the office here, and man, these are awesome. And so I think that's the other cool thing is being able to, when you're e-commerce, when you see something that's potentially on offer on a website or whatever, to be able to put it in so many people's hands in one space and be able to see, the quality of it. You mentioned you were pretty OCD about about stuff, Stephen. It's a really, it's a nice jersey. So to be able to see people's reaction to it, put it in their hands, let them take it back and share it around the office was pretty cool.
Yeah. And that, I think, jerseys make athletes the most amount of money. Just put it out there. Right. And the fact that we could tell a story with it and say, this jersey is going to make, an athlete $15, and they feel it and look at it and go, damn, this thing's nice. Right.
Yeah.
And that's really we know that, Nike and Under Armour, Adidas, we're not going to be them. Right. Let's just put it out there. But what we want to do is put our best foot forward to make an alternative that is available to everyone, that bookstores can get quickly, in congruence with, those sideline jerseys that are super, super nice. So I was pretty proud of that. I thought that was cool. I think what's most exciting is every single day, more schools are saying, yeah, let's get jerseys up there. Let's get jerseys up there. And so I bet if you were to say that a year ago or 2 years ago, conversation would have been completely different, right? Adam, what's been the shift that you're feeling from athletic directors, licensing directors, NIL directors, retailers from maybe last June to now?
Yeah, I think the biggest and probably easiest thing to take notice of is just the willingness for people to get into the space and the recognition that, look, this isn't going anywhere. There were a number of people that were sounding that out from the beginning of, hey, this is here now. But it took a little bit of time for people to kind of jump on board. But but watching, some of the cream maybe rise to the top, or some of those early people who were very opportunistic, without maybe thinking long-term solution. The industry has gotten a lot more narrow, in a good way, but athletic directors, schools, fans are getting a lot more comfortable with knowing what to look for in the market, and knowing that, to your point, there is going to be a Nike jersey, there is going to be an Under Armour and Adidas. That sideline partner, super high end replica jersey is great. But what else is there available in the market for fans to get quickly at a price point that is accessible to everybody? And then, the other thing that I think schools are really excited about and recognizing is that, you can't just spin stuff up for football, right? That's not a long-term option. You have to be able to offer something to your athletes, and that's not just from an equity standpoint. That's from a true value. There is a massive amount of value in providing opportunities for gymnastics, in providing opportunities for women's volleyball, softball, baseball. And that's the thing that I think people are just now starting to realize, like, oh, yeah, people are actually looking for this stuff.
I would just add that I think we've seen a shift. Schools and institutions, you have to understand, are inherently very conservative. They're massive brands with a lot of hands in the pot, and it takes a lot to do something new. It just is, and that's to no fault of their own. So it's hard oftentimes for a school to be the first to do something. I give a lot of credit to those initial schools that were first to do something and believed. But oftentimes they're like, we're going to see somebody else do it first, see how it plays out, see if it's worthwhile. They're looking out for their athletes just like anyone else. And so I think as we continue to iterate and we continue to prove out what we're doing, I think schools, as we've seen, are more and more comfortable being like, yeah, we really like what you guys are doing. You are for all of our athletes at our school. You have a solution that's an industry leader in payouts, and schools are becoming more and more comfortable. And I think we've seen that come to fruition.
Stephen, just kind of using a good example of all of these things, jerseys, Vegas, kind of doing things for the first time. We launched something pretty special while we were in Vegas. For one of our athletes at Purdue, that was kind of a first. Talk a little bit about that process, what that was like, and I just think it's a great example of kind of leading out and doing something unique that's really going to benefit the athlete.
Right. So part of our value prop is, rooted in education, athlete and student first. Our entire team's watching every single game. We are talking to parents, fans, getting suggestions on Twitter, and we are reacting in real time. And that's going to be a staple of Campus Inc. for as long as I'm ever there, right? We have to be with the time. Sean always says it's about the special moments. Well, Zach Edey is Canadian, which is interesting. We'll talk about that. And he played hockey, which I would love to see him on some skates because he's 7'4", and probably when he was younger, he's probably still a pretty tall youngster. But his mom was wearing a hockey jersey that she had made, and I think the suggestion came about is let's do a hockey jersey. And so we have a pretty great hockey jersey we really like. We actually do the hockey jersey for the fraternities a ton, for the frats. And so we're like, let's make a Zach Edey hockey jersey. It'll be the big maple jersey. I don't know who came up with that slogan, but we launched it at the show, spun it up. We didn't know how well it was going to do, so we decided to do a pre-order, be risk-free a little bit. It was, in my history at Campus Inc., probably the most viral drop I have ever been a part of. And we've done some pretty crazy things in our past. We're just like, yeah, let's push it out. And our CFO, Steve Watson, goes, have you checked your phone recently? And I was like, no. I was like, is there good news or bad news? And this is after, I had to convince him to take everyone to Vegas on a budget. And so I felt pretty good about that. Zach could not post about it because he's an international student. Sean, you were behind the scenes getting it all running. Me and Adam are running around talking. Like, I had no idea what was going on. Everyone's like, we're launching it. I was like, go for it. And we actually put it up on our screen as we were demoing. Sean, you were on the ones and twos. Tell us how it went down.
I mean, it's the perfect storm of everything that can happen. You have a star player who also happens to be a Goliath of a human being. So he already sticks out, right? So Zach Edey, he's 7'4". He's one of the best players in the country. He's on the number one team in the country, and fans want to keep him at Purdue, right? Like, hey, if we support him, this money's going directly to his pocket. Maybe this makes him want to stay at Purdue. So there's a lot of different factors of why this worked, but it was also just something unique and cool and hadn't ever been done before. His mom wears a Purdue hockey jersey at every game, so he already had that built-in reputation and brand. So yeah, it was all these different factors, and ultimately, you really got to give credit to Purdue fans because they love their basketball team so much, and it's just been so much fun to see them interact and everything from that standpoint.
The virality of it was, I mean, I think by definition, it's always going to catch you off guard, right? But it was crazy just to watch it catch fire, and started to get picked up by some media outlets, and I'm getting text messages and phone calls, and people asking me like, "Hey, how did this start?" And they talked about it on ESPN2 when Purdue was playing the next night on ESPN, and I think two of the most special things about it to me were, to Steven's point, what we are about is highlighting the student athletes and allowing them to capitalize on this moment alongside the institution. And the thing about this drop that really got to me with Zach was it was more than just like, oh, we're going to do a hockey jersey and it's going to be licensed and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. But it really goes back to his identity, right? And there are two things that he leans into. One, he's a Purdue basketball star, right? And the second thing is he's Canadian and he loves hockey, and that's a big part of his identity. And so it was so cool to see those two things that weren't just, oh, what a neat thing, but this is representative of who Zach is. He loves playing basketball at Purdue, and he loves being Canadian and the hockey culture there. To be able to marry those things, bring that to market, and have it speak to both pieces of his identity in a meaningful way, that to me is like what's really neat about how we're able to react to stuff so quickly.
It got picked up. It was on ESPN, or an announcer during the game.
John Crispin.
Who's the announcer, Sean?
John Crispin. So yeah.
He's like, he literally goes, this is how NIL is supposed to work. This is it. Fans want to support athletes, kids from Canada. He loves hockey and basketball. This is NIL in action, ladies and gentlemen. And I couldn't say it any better. Collectives, boosters, fundraisers, all the ways to get, money to athletes. This is an organic, real way where fans can support their athletes and wear that proudly. And I think the coolest part is Zach did a photo shoot recently with the hockey team, and maybe we'll be able to release some images. But, Purdue also does a fantastic job of just supporting the culture. Same thing with Caleb and the elf thing that they did around the holidays. So really, really great lockstep effort. And now we're bringing it on our shelves for the tournament.
And the demand was so high, right? So, like we would close the drop and people kept saying, I didn't get it in time. Yeah. So we would open it back up. Right. And my wife's mom, Carson's mom, is a Boilermaker, and she's like, Steven, what do I do? I missed it. I'm like, we got you. We're gonna figure out how to get it. We're gonna get you.
I think I know a guy.
So, but no, that was fantastic. It was there were several zeros behind that one of of dollars and cents made and jerseys sold and stuff. So that was super cool. And I think it propelled everyone and got them really excited. Because then when Mason Gillis, hit a record for threes, boom, we were right there behind it, and that's our identity. So I'm really proud of the team for pulling that off. I think the coolest part that we're experiencing right now is all of our account managers. So we have creative account managers. They're responsible for their schools. They're going to they have their own watch party tonight at 5:30 because their athletes are playing. And I guarantee you on their computers, they're going to be designing on the fly. And what's cool is Sean, who's like our inside SID basically, is coaching us and training us of how to be awesome fans and supporters. And, we have some account managers that maybe weren't diehard sports fans. And now they're like watching every game.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Well, and you got, you got people smoking our own supply here. We're buying our own merch so that we can rep it out at the bars and stuff and wearing it. And
shout out Sarah.
Yeah. 100%.
Shout out Sarah Hoffman. There was a picture of Sarah she's a Marquette grad, wearing Marquette pants and like a Purdue top.
Zach Edey. She was wearing a Zach Edey limited drop on top. It's game day. Yeah. But it's fun too, listening to this is on a Thursday, last night, Northwestern and Indiana are playing, and, tonight Maryland and Purdue are playing. And so it's fun to watch the conversations and support the athletes. And, to your point with that Mason Gillis drop, Stephen, he messaged us the next morning and he was like, "Hey, I don't know if you guys saw, but I had a pretty good game last night." And we're like, "Can I get a t-shirt?" We're like, "A pretty good game. I'd say record-breaking game." Yeah. We've got 4 designs ready for you. What do you think?
The best.
And so ready for him.
Yeah. That morning we were messaging. We're like, well, let's wait for him to wake up. He probably had a long night. And then he messaged. And so I'm like, message him back 30 seconds later.
He's awake.
In his inbox.
He's awake.
Is the shirt. And he must have been blown away. Like, that's so cool. And even better for athletes to recognize, these are the guys that I go to in moments like this. Like that's that relationship. That's that trust that we're continuing to build.
And that's where something that Sean does really well is Sean has a street team of marketers and student interns on each campus that help manage the socials. And they're getting this experience of how to kind of run marketing and PR. And so we kind of are layered and we're as close to the athletes as we possibly can. And the students are helping us do that. And so, our team at Purdue or Indiana, they're at the games, getting pictures, making memes,
storming the court.
And that is just as rewarding to see, this junior at Purdue or senior at Indiana, they're getting a real life experience. They're putting that on their resume. When they want to go work in sports, they're going to say, "I did this in college." And that's something that's really special to us. But as we keep, I feel like we're just tooting our own horns, but hey, that's what we do here.
It's our podcast.
It's our pod. We can do whatever the hell we want. We've been super busy though. We've been launching stores fast. Sean, what's been the rundown? What's coming? Give us our updates.
Yeah, just general update. I think the last time we had a podcast that launched was December 27th. So it's been about a month and a half. In that span, we've launched 5 stores. So just running down the list: Syracuse, UConn, Florida State, Iowa State, and a small school called Duke people may have heard of. So I think what's pretty cool about those 5 schools is these are massive brands. And they each carry a lot of weight in their specific region. And there's a lot to be proud of there for sure.
Sean, what's launching in the next couple weeks?
Let's kick this one to Adam. Adam,
we are busy little beavers over here. That's for sure. We have about 12 schools that are in the pipeline right now. I don't know if you guys know, but late spring, pretty big college sports window. So it's been a lot of fun to start some of maybe the Cinderella stories early. If you've been watching much college basketball in the Big Ten or maybe even in the ACC, there are some schools that are making some pretty good runs right now that you might see some NIL merchandise on offer here pretty soon. But as we move towards the tournament, don't want to give away too much too soon, but we've got about 8 schools that will be live and ready to rock and roll for the tournament, which is going to be really exciting. Again, giving those, this is the biggest moment of, at least for men's and women's basketball, their collegiate career. And so our team is working really, really hard to ensure that they don't miss out on this opportunity in time.
And, I give a lot of credit to the team because they're gearing up for basketball, right? Well, getting everything in for the tournament. But just the other day I heard, all right, we got to get ready for softball and baseball. Let's go. Right.
Never stops.
And that's pretty cool because, we're going to capitalize on that right when basketball's over, or at the same time, essentially. So it'll be an interesting month to say, or 2 to say the least. But I'm excited for it. And we're really fortunate for all of our partners that have helped make this possible. For sure.
Yeah. Very, very grateful. We've been asking a lot of questions. We've been getting a lot of advice, which we're always really grateful for as the space continues to evolve. And, we always say we'd much rather be busy than bored. We're definitely not anywhere near bored. That is for sure.
Well, guys, this was great. We're going to we need to get back on the horn because we could have gone on for 2 hours of all these updates, but maybe we'll break a couple down in the coming weeks. And if you want to give us a like, follow, love, shoot us a message, you'll see a lot of action this next couple of months. So sweet.
Love it. All right, y'all. This has been another episode of the NIL Show. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye, guys.